Whoops, that's not the one I wanted. Let's throw that one up there. Hey, everybody. Paul Lathrop. I'm the Deputy Director of New Media for the Second Amendment Foundation. We're getting ready to kick off the Polite Society Podcast, episode 629. We'll be doing that here in just a second as soon as I get everything connected. And I've just got to connect up. There we go, getting Facebook connected for social media. And I got to go look at show notes. See what I'm supposed to say, even though I've said it 629 times, 28 times before. Everybody ready to fly on this?
Yes.
Okay. With that,
We nodded.
With that, I believe we're going to have Masad Ayub speak to us in 5, 4, 3.
Hey gang, this is Masad Ayub from the Pro Arms Podcast. I'm here to remind you that our podcast is a member of the Self-Defense Radio Network, and I'm going to suggest you do what we do and check out the other podcasts at selfdefenseradio.net.
Treat every firearm as if it's loaded.
Never point a firearm at anything you're not willing to kill or destroy.
Keep your finger off the trigger until you are on target and ready to fire.
Always be sure of your target and what lies beyond it.
Hi, and welcome to the Second Amendment Foundation's Polite Society Podcast. We're recording this one on Monday, August the 8th, 2022. I'm Paul Lathrop.
I'm Rob Morrison. On the Second Amendment Foundation brought suit in Minnesota to allow 18, 19, and 20-year-olds to purchase firearms and carry concealed.
I'm Charlie Cook, and we'll talk about an assault weapon ban case in California that has to look through the lens of the Bruen decision.
And I'm Amanda Suffolk, and I think we just found the case that can challenge the NFA Gun Control Act of 1934, again through the lens of Bruen. So climb aboard.
Strap in.
And hang on.
Episode 629 of the Polite Society Podcast starts right now. As we get going, I want to apologize. I made some changes to the setup for the show. Doing that, when we go to commercial or when I run pre-recorded audio, you're getting a black screen. Those of you that are catching us live. There's nothing I can do right now since we're live to change that. So if you're getting pre-recorded stuff, it's going to be black for today instead of looking at, and maybe an improvement over looking at my face. So, anyway, those of you on podcast, you really don't care. But thanks for tuning in. Rob, as I normally do, we're going to start with you. It's been a couple weeks since we've been on the air. What's been up with you lately?
Well, we have some great news. I'd like to congratulate Robin Sandoval for becoming the executive director at a Girl and a Gun Shooting League. Robin was already busy. Julie is retired. If Robin asks you for help, please say yes. Amanda, what have you been doing?
Well, I have been planning for my September and October travel. Oh, man. So I made a list. I'll be in D.C., Detroit, Dallas, Scranton, Daytona, Phoenix, and then back home. I think I get to sleep in my bed about 5 days in the entire month of October. So it's a really good thing that I am retired. There's not enough time to do 2A advocacy work and to work too. So you know which one I picked. And we just came back from Detroit and the Rick Ector event, and that was amazing. Got to see some good friends and make new friends, and it's all good. So, Charlie, what's been happening since I saw you a week ago?
I've had a small, intimate class this past weekend, and it's a good thing that it was a small and intimate class because I had to race out because I was doing the bullet with Paul. My class was supposed to go until 1 o'clock, and I barely made it by the chin of my chinny chin chin, or by the hair of my chinny chin chins to get onto the bullet. I've also been working on my trip working on plans for a trip to New Jersey this week. I am heading down to the Gun for Hire range to John Petrolino and I are crashing Tony Simon's diversity shoot on Thursday, and we're bringing someone else with us as well. We're bringing Lisa Ludwig, who is a firearm instructor on Long Island, and then on Friday I'm going to interview Lisa as we drive around Long Island. So that's what I have going on this week. Paul and Susan, you guys have your plans to take 2 different vehicles down to Dallas.
Yes. Susan, are you on microphone?
No.
Oh, all right. Well, yeah, we found out today that Susan is going to be able to get enough time when we do AmCon and GRPC at the end of September, beginning of October. She was able to get enough time off of work, so we are going to be taking our bikes down for AmCon and GRPC. We recently bought a trailer, it's a trailer that the bike pulls, not that you pull the bike on. A trailer that you pull with the bike, and all the broadcast equipment's going on the trailer. And we're taking bikes down for GRPC. Susan has her own. She's not going to be riding out with me. She'll ride her own. So, really looking forward to that.
It's going to be interesting.
It's going to be a great trip.
Yes, absolutely. This has actually been kind of in the works for a little over 2 years. When the thought came by before COVID killed Gun Rights Policy Conference live, that I would take an old 1982 model Honda Goldwing and ride that to Gun Rights Policy Conference and raise money through that. Trying to get to Gun Rights Policy Conference in 24 hours, 1,000 miles, 24 hours, one shot. And we're not going to be doing Dallas in 24 hours. Susan's a fairly new rider. She just started riding last September, so when we go this year, she'll have been riding 1 year. I don't want to put that kind of stress on her. I maybe would have tried it, but even with my health problems last year, I think that might have been a little shaky even for me. So we're going to take a couple days to do it this year. Still looking forward to getting it done. Really looking forward to seeing the country, not from the seat of a cab, but, and I'm getting echo back at me, not from the seat of a cab, but from the seat of a motorcycle. So, let's see here. Oh, wow. I want to get some comments in here. We're getting some awesome ones in. I'm going to start here with Mike. Why did that not update? It's not updating. No, that's why.
The real question is, do we see Mike now, or does Mike see us now?
Aha, here we go.
It's not a black screen, so.
There we go. More guns means less crime and more politeness. And DJ, I think DJ's nailed this one. Amanda is, as always, lovely. You guys ugly mugs, however, lacking. You're very, very observant, DJ.
Observant, but so what else is new?
The standard is low for us, okay?
And he also comes up with Iron Butt Challenge. And I did debate doing that, but I don't know right now if I can put my body through that much stress safely. So,
well, out of all the people that are going to be stressed at AmCon and at GRPC, it does not need to be you or Susan.
Yeah.
Now, they can follow the ride, honey. Yet we do still have the website up.
Yes. And so it's butdidtheydie.com is the website.
Yeah, it's a joke. It's like, okay, this is tough, but did they die? Right? Yeah. I have done 570 miles in a day and said that's enough. I cannot imagine doing one of the 1,000-mile rides.
We're going to be doing pretty much doing that back to back. We're going to be, it's right at 1,000 miles, like 987 from our front door to the hotel where they're holding GRPC and AmCon.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So you should be, yeah. I mean, because 400 miles is fun. 570 is I'm hating life and my bifocals are trying to pop my head off the shoulders. So,
And
because you're trying to find an angle.
I got new glasses this week, and when I went to go get the glasses, I explained to the person that I was getting that I was ordering the glasses from. The optician knows that I shoot a lot, and when I went to go order the glasses, where I went to go pick them up, they said, "Well, we're going to mark where you look," and I said, "Well, look, the reason I get regular glasses that I use for broadcast, and then I ordered some special safety shooting glasses, and I explained to this person, look, these are for shooting, and so when you don't mark my eyes and the perfect, focus spot being down here, because when I'm looking, and so they set up so my focal point is way up near the top of the lenses, and then I get down there to pick them up yesterday, and the lady's like, boy, those glasses sit awful high on your face. I'm like, they need to. Because when I'm shooting, I'm looking up, right at the very top of the lenses. So, let's see here. I want to talk to everybody real quick about if it reloads and what that is supposed to be. Self-Defense Radio Network.
3 blue lines on a screen. You probably need to give them a little more information.
There we go. Self-Defense Radio Network. All your pro-freedom podcasts in one place. We do have more coming in that are going to be added to that. Dan Waz, his show is going to be added to the network very soon. And we've currently got up there, you see us, Polite Society Podcast, Eye on the Target Radio, of course, is up there. Riding Shotgun with Charlie is up there. Not only can you listen right off the website, the subscription information, should you want it, for all the shows is there as well. So, go check it out at sdrn.us. For right now, this bunch of amateurs and one supposedly paid professional is going to step off to our first break. We're going to hear from ACLDN. We'll be right back right after this.
This portion of the Polite Society podcast is brought to you by the Armed Citizens Legal Defense Network. If you carry a defensive handgun, you need protection from the aftermath of prosecution. Even if you do everything right, you can be the victim of an overzealous prosecutor or even be falsely accused. That is where the ACLDN comes in. They provide immediate assistance when you need it most. If you find yourself under arrest, they immediately pay bail money and the retainer for your attorney. Additional funds are available for trial and civil proceedings. Beyond the money, they have far and away the best team in the industry, providing you invaluable information and training DVDs that are included with your membership, and who stand ready to work with your lawyer on your defense. People like Massad Ayub, John Farnham, James Fleming, Tom Givens, Emmanuel Capelson, Dennis Tuller, and led by Network President Marty Hayes. Initial membership is only $135 for your first year, and you get 8 incredible training DVDs and other educational material when you join. If you don't have tens of thousands of dollars to defend yourself at your disposal right now, you need to be a member of the ACLDN. Go to armedcitizensnetwork.org and become a member today. And please mention that you heard about them on the Polite Society podcast.
Welcome back. This is the news segment of the Polite Society podcast presented by the Second Amendment Foundation. Susan, are you ready to go?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's hear about the first story. I believe it's something my boss did.
The Second Amendment Foundation filed a motion for summary judgment in a federal lawsuit in Minnesota, challenging that state's ban on concealed carry by young adults between the ages of 18 and 21, stating it violates the Second and 14th Amendment rights of those citizens. We recognize the rights of law-abiding young adults to vote, join the military, sign contracts, start businesses, get married, and do other things. When it comes to exercising one of the most basic fundamental rights protected by the Constitution, suddenly we treat them like children. You either have the rights of the adult or you don't.
What's interesting is you can get married, have a company, have a house, have a family, and be told you don't have the rights to protect those. Wow. Because you're not 21, you're 20. Holy cow.
Yeah, you can enter contracts, you can join the military without your parents' permission, fight and die for your country. And oh, by the way, when you join the military, they train you how to use weapons. You can join the police force, where they will train you to use weapons. And yet, you don't have the right to keep and bear arms. Yes.
That's amazing. It's amazing. You could be a cop and not be allowed to have a gun. What the heck?
No, actually not. That's not how that works. The law actually says that if you need to have a gun for your job, then your employer can issue you one. Even at 17 years old, but you can't buy it yourself.
Yeah, that's the part that's just wow.
That's the part. So you could get a job where your employer says you have to have a gun. They can give you a gun and you're perfectly legal. But if you say I'm a responsible adult, then you're not allowed to have one. Sorry.
Never mind. Never.
Right.
The interesting thing about joining the military is they'll give you a fully automatic M4, right?
Mm-hmm.
They train you. Right. They train you on a fully automatic EBR, Evil Black Rifle, and but they won't let you have one if you live in an apartment.
Okay,
no, you can't get a single action revolver. You can't get anything.
Right.
Nay.
The blank screen during commercial reminds me of an AR-15 at midnight on a dark, moonless night. Although you can still get some starlight, dude. You got to get some clouds in there. So it's got to be a cloudy midnight on a dark, moonless night.
Some people are so hard to please.
He draws a mental picture. Radio is, the theater of the mind. So he's just working it.
Well, you know what? Yeah. You're right. That blank black screen is what I get when I try to listen to your podcast recently, Amanda.
If you're not catching us live on video, if you're catching us on podcast, these do stay up forever on YouTube, on Facebook. Go look up the video for August the 8th and watch Amanda's face as Rob says that.
There we were, the Ninth Circuit.
Yes, Susan, let's hear about the Ninth Circuit.
The Ninth Circuit remanded the California assault weapons ban case Miller v. Bonta back to the Judge Roger Benitez. The judge was told to see if there were any new findings in light of the recent Bruin ruling by the U.S. Supreme Court. Judge Benitez cited Heller and McDonald extensively when he ruled against California's assault weapons ban in June of last year. The Ninth Circuit overturned his ruling, and the U.S. Supreme Court overturned the district's ruling last month. Now, the chess game begins. California Department of Justice will claim that it will take years to prepare their response to the new judicial standard of text as informed by history. The judge may reply that the new standard is simply the old standard as covered by Heller and McDonald, cases that are over a decade old. You and I would give California 30 days, but Judge Benitez has to give the state enough time that their inevitable appeal will be rejected. In the background is a second consideration, because this isn't the only assault weapons ban being appealed. If California delays too long, then another circuit might rule, and the judge would simply cite their precedents and silence California's appeal. That makes me wonder if Texas, Arizona, Oklahoma, or Missouri should pass an assault weapons ban and then quickly lose the case on appeal to let their laws form the new standard.
I'm going to jump in. They're hoping against hope that Judge Bonta has a change of heart.
Benitez?
He won't. Benitez, I'm sorry. This is why I'm not a federal judge. This is why I'm not a judge of any type. If it were me sitting in that judge box and the law says I have to give them 30 days, I would give them exactly 30 days. At 30 days and 1 second, you're in contempt, and Mr. DA, you're going to be spending the weekend in jail. Because I am just tired of the state of California second-classing regular citizens.
Well, we don't disagree with you, but we also find that they live in California, so they think that that's somewhat the norm. That they are the ones who set the standard, and that standard is that we are peons and they are the elite.
You know, and this is not guns, but, you know, the reason we have all the electronic we have on our cars and our motorcycles, it's not because of the federal government, it's because of the state of California. It is cheaper to build one car, sell it throughout the United States, than it is to build a car for California and a car for the rest of the United States.
Started with the 1997 air emissions standard in California with the ULEV and the ZeroLEV parts. I'm intimately involved in that because we were actually building prototype units for that, and they wrote the air emission standards off of a unit that came off of our prototype bench here in Ohio. Sorry, California.
Yeah, and
wow, look at you.
They think because they can control the rest of the state's cars, they can control the rest of the state's laws. Is what I'm seeing in my head.
Oh, look what they're doing with eggs and pigs, because that's coming next. Have you seen that?
I have, but explain if you would.
You can fry them up together and have them for breakfast, right?
You can, but what California has done is they've made it so that they've changed the standard on how big a cage can be for a chicken that produces eggs and how much acreage a pig must have to be grown for bacon. And so it is going to either be that the farmers will not ship into California at all, or it's going to change the farming standards across the country.
Amanda, if I'm a farmer in California, I get to change the size of my cage and monstrously increase my price because now I have a captive market. You can only buy my pigs and my eggs. That's how that works. If you thought socialism was bad, go to California. If you thought socialism was good, go try California. They've been at it for a while.
Yeah, pretty soon you will not. I mean, when we're looking at $3 a dozen eggs and going, wow, that's really gone up 50%. That's not where it's going to be there.
California was at one point one of the major oil producers in the United States. They fixed it. Hope you enjoy $6 a gallon.
Yeah.
So, from what I understand, in Texas, hogs run wild, and there's no season on them because they're a nuisance.
Right.
They're free-range hogs. Can somebody kill those and then ship the meat, ship the bacon to California? Would that make the people in California happy?
Well, I think they could market them as organically fed.
Yes, they're all natural, right? They're organically fed. They're all natural. They would love that. They're organically harvested. It's right. We need a marketing team on this, like Stat. We need some friends in Texas and a marketing team.
We got it. Then we have a business plan that includes a helicopter and
a helicopter, full auto ARs. We got to hire a pilot for all this. I think that'll be pretty cool.
Paging Mark Piwowarski. Mike Piwowarski.
Right.
Yeah, I'll have to get a little bit of a clip of this and play that because Mike's going to be joining me Thursday for the Bullet broadcast.
There you go. There, we got a business plan for him.
Right, we could all move to Texas and start harvesting hogs and sending them to California and putting them in green packaging and sell to Trader Joe's or something, right?
Hopefully,
100% organically harvested. I love it. Organic, baby. Let's do it.
We better move on.
Let me get a couple comments in here. There we go. DJ says not for commercial distribution, and other game laws apply to. Why is it? Come on, there we go. Other game laws apply to that. So.
Ah, crap. All right, well, so much for that.
That was a very short-lived business.
It's good while it lasted.
That's what happens to a lot of our business plans. Generally, though, we're drinking when we when we create it. But just saying, you guys got to see the artistic side without the alcohol.
Yeah, well, and next one is Charlie's OnlyFans page. But anyway, Susan, let's talk about this next Amaland story.
Will this be the case that eliminates the NFA? Daniel Augusto was arrested and charged in Massachusetts for several counts that violate NFA rules. He had some of the Chinese machine gun conversion devices, which are illegal. They're marketed for airsoft, but found to work in conventional firearms. 2 home-built suppressors, not legal per se to build, but with no corresponding ATF Form 1s on file, and several forced reset triggers that the ATF is now redefining as machine gun parts.
It will be interesting for a trial lawyer to say, show me where the legislation outlaws these parts. Because now, given the EPA ruling,
Correct.
Judges have said, we'd like to write laws as a federal agency, and they go, no, laws are written by legislatures. You can make stuff up, but my client shouldn't go to jail for it.
Right. I wanted to see this story. Charlie, because this dude lives in Massachusetts, and it's not really part of free America, are the forced reset triggers illegal in Massachusetts as part of the state standard?
I honestly don't know. I'm assuming, Massachusetts is it's not New Jersey, but it's where almost everything is illegal. So I don't know. Honestly, I wanted to buy one. I wanted to buy one before they stopped making them, or stopped before the lawsuit took place. But they're $600. I thought it'd be cool to have one, just to have one, because the more the state says that you can't have these things, the more I find myself wanting to have them.
Correct.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if it's illegal to have a forced trigger reset, or forced reset trigger.
Okay. So I think this is going to be really interesting, because what happens is when they're looking for somebody in a court case, they're looking for something with standing, and since the pieces that he's got kind of tick a bunch of the boxes in the NFA, the 1934 Gun Control Act, it really puts him at a case that hopefully SAF or Firearms Policy Coalition or one of those steps in and says, look at this, because it ticks so many boxes, and then it can consolidate the Bruin case with, as Rob just said, with the West Virginia EPA Supreme Court case. And it all kind of comes together in the way that when we heard all of those cases come out of the Supreme Court that week, this is what we're envisioning, is this was the challenge. And so I'm just going to say to all you gun folks, watch this space. And if John Crump is on it, because John Crump is the one who wrote this article for AmmoLand, if he's on it, he's watching it, and will keep an eye on it for us and keep us in the loop, because he's a bulldog. And so it's gonna be good, and he's on it. So it's not gonna get lost in the noise.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
so there are a number of Facebook groups that are Massachusetts firearm folks, and a lot of times people will get on these and say, am I good to go at the aquarium? Am I good to go at Symphony Hall? Am I good to go at this place? Can I go to the Museum of Science? And all they're really asking is, are there signs and are there metal detectors? A lot of times people will reply with, Freeman, don't ask for permission. So I saw someone post this story on one of the pages, and I said, where are all of the Freeman Don't Ask for Permission crowd? Because this guy's buying the stuff he wants, and he's getting all the goodies he wants and making what he wants to make, and now he's in trouble for it.
Well,
Right.
the other part is that this is, when you look at the stuff that he did with the conversion, the machine gun conversion devices, those are available to most everybody. But there is the tail of the dragon that comes along with it. So the ATF is monitoring those sales sites and is monitoring those companies shipping into the U.S. so they know who it's going to. And in a lot of cases, they're identifying, opening the packages, closing the package back up, and then continuing the shipment to you. So they know that you're getting it, even though, it's in a secret brown paper wrapper, as if it were coming from the store Dear Lady or something, they know what you're getting inside that package.
The store Dear Lady? What is this?
Oh,
Well, and let's.
I got a story for that, but
I'm thinking that Charlie and I were just on the bullet here a little bit ago. I think maybe UPS is helping them out. Hint, hint, hint on that.
Yes.
Right.
could be.
Okay.
right.
Now, what does the ADF call it? Constructive. What's the next word? Constructive assembly. Constructive, meaning you had the parts. You could put them together with other parts to make an illegal gun. We never saw an illegal gun, but you have all the parts for it, so we're going to charge you as if you did. But I have 1,000 other things.
It's right at that spot where you have all the parts, so we can charge you as a rapist.
Right.
Well, I'm going to flip that around. You've got all the parts of a prostitute. We should charge you as a prostitute.
Look at that.
You know what, though?
Exactly.
Let's not be sexist, Charlie. So do you.
So I'm sorry, Paul. So does the ATF. There.
Yes.
Now we've completed the circle.
There, we've completed the circle. So
Let's do this.
But literally, yeah.
I want to get a
so-
comment in, and then we do got to get to break, but we're going to have another news segment. Don't worry about that. So, but George says, don't fall asleep on the front porch in East Texas. The hogs will eat you.
Ugh.
Oh yeah. Keep that in mind. That. Never mind. We're not going there either.
I knew there's a reason we had alligators is to keep the hog population from crossing the river. Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a predator.
Yes. Wow.
Mine is the ATF.
Right.
Boom.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and do this. Everybody else has been covering my load. I've been trying to get all of the pre-roll ads so you're not looking at a blank screen. Let's see how I did. We're going to hear from CNJFO. We'll be right back with another news segment right after this.
New Jersey is a civil rights wasteland where an unconstitutional law known as justifiable need keeps ordinary citizens from exercising their right to bear arms. New Jersey spits in the eye of freedom, ignores the Bill of Rights and the Heller decision. New Jersey politics are an anti-civil rights bulldozer and a spreading cancer. The Coalition of New Jersey Firearms Owners, a tax-exempt nonprofit, has a goal to defeat justifiable need, reverse course on all anti-freedom laws, and render aid to other jurisdictions by filing Supreme Court-bound litigation. CNJFO is a beacon of freedom behind the Iron Curtain in New Jersey. Join CNJFO's strong, enthusiastic patriots. Support the Coalition of New Jersey Firearms Owners today. Protect all our rights and return freedom to the Garden State. To donate or learn more, go to cnjfo.com.
And welcome back. This is our second news segment. And for some reason, I do have a problem with this from time to time. Facebook comments are not coming in to my broadcast software. So I did look over, and John just commented, and this does pertain to the news segment, that Delaware just passed an AR ban. I would say, John, hang on. because those are pretty much going to be outlawed. It's a matter of not very long time. We're not talking days, but I don't think we're talking decades either. I don't think it'll be very long, and enough of these are going to get to the Supreme Court that Justice Thomas and the rest of the originalists on the Supreme Court are going to say, look, we meant what we said when we said it, and this is now the law throughout the land, and you cannot ban ARs, you cannot have magazine limits, you cannot ban people 18, 19, 20 years old from possessing firearms. And oh, by the way, you must issue concealed carry permits if they're not a prohibited person. I think that's all coming, honestly, in the next 3 to 5 years.
Well, the one other question I've got is that the new recent gun control bill that included hardening the schools and some of that kind of stuff didn't have a restriction on 18 to 21-year-olds on the federal level, but they had penalties and punishment for them, longer background checks, longer wait periods, all of that kind of stuff. What do you think of that? Is that also going to be challenged and slapped back?
Challenged, yes. Slapped back, I'm not that sure of that.
Because if they don't slap it back, that means that the next step will be, oh, if that's acceptable for someone up to 21 years old, it'll be acceptable for you old dudes.
Yes.
So it'll be the new law of the land.
Amanda, what I wonder, let's take the assault weapons ban in California. Suppose Benitez gives California the months he thinks they need to reply. He then says, yeah, okay, it's still unconstitutional. I've amended my comments in light of Bruin. It gets then the state appeals 3-judge panel. If the state 3-judge panel agrees with Benitez, then it goes to the 9th, and the 9th can drag it out. If the 3-judge panel says, Benitez, you're wrong, then the plaintiffs can appeal directly to the Supreme Court. At which point, the Supreme Court can, in 5 minutes, go, we grant the case, we vacate the ruling, and we remand it back to the 3-judge panel and say, fix it, you were wrong. In that case, the 3-judge panel, knowing how that's going to play out quickly, would say, here we think an even weaker case would be this way. They agree with Benitez in a flawed way, and then the 9th Circuit takes it, and perhaps that becomes law.
Yeah, it's going to be a convoluted path. The wheels of justice grind fine and slow.
Slowly, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to see, I believe.
All right, Susan, let's talk about North Carolina.
Madison County, North Carolina has an interesting sheriff. Sheriff Buddy Hardwood said he is mounting AR rifles and gun safes in every school. Quote, I want the parents of Madison County to know we're going to take every measure necessary to ensure our kids are safe in this school system. If my parents as a whole want me to stand at that door with that AR strapped around my neck, then I'm going to do whatever my parents want as a whole to keep our kids safe. End quote. There are also breaching tools in the safe so deputies don't have to wait for the fire department. Now, if only the sheriff could acknowledge that waiting 15 minutes for the police to arrive is too long, then he could deputize some school staff to go armed every day.
There's this wonderful program called Faster that they could adopt in North Carolina that does wonders in states like Arizona, states like Ohio, states like Colorado.
I've been talking to the Faster folks, and there are many, many states who are very interested in Faster. And so the struggle is going to be to have enough resources to be able to share with them and teach them and show them how it could work.
Well, yeah, because it took quite a bit of effort from the people in Arizona to get faster to Arizona. Same thing with Colorado. It took a year to get that ramped up in Colorado, and I think a little over a year to get it ramped up in Arizona.
I want to give kudos to Ed Monk. As he says, math is hard. If someone's shooting at you, you're not going to stop and dial 911. You're going to run to safety. You're going to then get your wits about you. It takes you between 2.5 to 3 minutes before someone finally starts dialing. Then police response times are police response times. They want to be there. Another 10 minutes. Now we're talking about almost a quarter hour before this murderer is opposed. See, the murderer wants combat, one-way combat. And if you ask your school board, what's your safety plan? How many kids will die? If they say, well, if it involves calling 911 to save your kids, you're talking about 40 to 50 murdered kids. That's just the math.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
that's the world we live in right now.
What happens if a kid reaches in your pants and takes your gun? That's the question that they've got. They keep saying the kids are touching the teachers, so they're going to reach in and they're going to take their gun.
We've got over 2 million.
Do they reach in and take their wallet? Do they reach in and take their car keys? You know, are they already having a problem with kids' hands in teachers' pockets or pants or?
Well, they just arrested it. They just arrested a teacher for that. Yes.
That's a different issue. That's
a different podcast.
Then not G-rated.
No, Charlie, don't go there. Don't. After show. We've got 2 million man days of armed school staff. If it didn't show up yet, it's not a big problem. And students setting off the gun in the teacher's holster hasn't been a problem.
Correct.
Thinking back to the days in the when the dinosaurs roamed the earth when I was in school, I can't remember ever touching a teacher. Period. In all the years I was in school, I don't ever remember touching a teacher. I remember one time when a principal touched me rather forcefully.
Forcefully?
But he didn't like what I was doing at the time, and he let me know. But I don't remember myself ever touching a teacher.
I spent a lot of time in elementary schools with my day job, and the teachers, like, the kids come up and want to hug you and all this kind of crap, and I always get egged out by it. I'm like, don't get so close to me. Like, really, keep your distance. But this is the society we live in, where you can't pat someone on the back, but you can give them a hug, which seems completely ridiculous. But it's not that they're touching students inappropriately, the kids are grabbing the teachers' butts or anything like that, but they'll go up and give you a hug. And honestly, do kids, if a kid's like now, in defense of the teachers that want to carry, if a kid goes up and feels that there's something underneath your shirt, if they go up and hug you, they're not going to know what it is. They're not, speaking of math, they're not going to put that math together that the teacher's carrying a gun.
Right.
No, well, think about how many people that you know that carry concealed. Because let's take it out of the school. I mean, we interact with people day in, day out that are carrying guns.
Yep.
It's not a problem. I mean, and so you hug them, you touch them, you pat them on the back, and you don't interact with their gun.
I remember the very first concealed carry class I took. All people did was talk about carrying strong side on the hip. So they said when you go in to give someone a hug, you go in first and put your right arm down low so that they can't reach and touch your hip. Like, you strategically have to plan how you're going to hug someone if you get to that point where you hug somebody.
Well, I had somebody sending me a text this week because they carry concealed. They were going to their class reunion and they were concerned about hugging. And I said, well, you can, you hug, and then you can let them believe that you either have a medical device or you really like them. So if you back up and you wink at them, maybe you can direct that thought to go one way or another. You decide.
And I mentioned that this is a G-rated show.
Well, how come I'm the one that gets the flack all the time?
I'm just saying. It really did come up this week. I was like, yeah, just wink when you're done.
By the way, Charlie does have the most identifiable backside in the two movie.
And nobody sees a gun there.
You know,
no, but Anthony Calandro's name is written on your backside. That's the part that made it.
It was a carabiner. It's not a tattoo.
Okay, now that the wheels have totally come off the train.
Would we like to go on to news item number 5?
Please, let's move on.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to call this the last news item, and then we'll go on to do another break in DGU. Susan, let's talk about Kenosha.
This time, I'm not sure that you're going to put this team back together.
Right? We're going to be like, hey, I'm available. You know, somebody needs to be out.
All right, Susan, please take us to Kenosha.
On July 5th, 2022, the Kenosha County, Wisconsin Board of Supervisors voted 14-7 to remove the ban on the bearing of arms in most county-owned buildings. A famed Democrat politician once said, "All politics are local." After the chaos of the riots in Kenosha in 2020, and the national attention brought about by the self-defense trial of Kyle Rittenhouse, the Kenosha County Board has overwhelmingly voted in favor of armed self-defense as a human right. A bipartisan vote now allows concealed carry in most county-owned buildings. This includes both taxpayers and employees. One supervisor proposed an amendment that directed employees who chose to carry at work to keep the firearm on their person and not in a desk drawer, a purse, or in an otherwise unattended location. The No Guns Allowed signs went up in 2011 at the same time that the City of Kenosha government voted to allow guns in most city-owned buildings. Both city and county governments now have similar policies, which Decker said will eliminate confusion.
That's progress.
Yes.
Elections matter.
Good on them.
Good for them. Yeah.
I do like the policy that if you choose to carry a firearm at work, you keep it on your person. That just makes sense. Don't keep it in a desk drawer. Don't keep it where it can be. If you go to lunch, your firearm should go with you.
It doesn't say that passed. It just says that it was a proposed amendment.
I think the amendment did pass.
Did it?
I think it did. Yeah.
Okay.
When I read the article, I think it passed.
Right, I just looked up on handgunlaw.us, and in Wisconsin, the no gun signs do have the force of law.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but is it the force of law like Ohio, where it's $250 fine and up to 30 days in jail, which is the same as speeding?
I don't know.
Oh, I can't read this.
You know. Want me to hold it over here?
What's it like?
Right. So, Paul was talking about his glasses. I'm fighting getting cheaters. I really am. I'm like, I'm not going to read that. I'm not going to read that. It's too small. It's there's not enough light behind me for me to read this. So,
yeah, so
take a
get
picture
your phone
of it with your phone and blow it up.
And enlarge it.
Yeah, you just,
yeah.
Spread your fingers apart and make it bigger.
I'm just saying. We'll give you some advice there, Charlie.
All right. Let's go ahead. We're going to step aside to break. We got to try to get this train back on the tracks. We're going to step aside to break. When we come back, we've got a couple DGUs, and we'll talk about those when we are back right after this.
This portion of the Polite Society podcast is brought to you by The Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant is designed for a broad base of citizens that range from students that don't own a gun on up to advanced students that train often. The Complete Combatant offers several different courses that build upon each other, from avoidance, using verbal commands, and preparing for contact, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, your 911 call, interacting with the police, to even dealing with the legal system in the aftermath. The Complete Combatant courses are a layered approach for all levels of experience that will walk you through all the many stages of decisions while developing a game plan tailored to your skills and your everyday carry. Please visit www.thecompletecombatant.com and make sure you mention this ad to receive 15% off. Again, that's www.thecompletecombatant.com and mention the ad for 15% off.
Well, now you got to see my face looking around and doing that stuff rather than the blank screen. So I think if you want the blank screen, comment. I'll give you the blank screen back. But anyway, this is the DGU segment of the Polite Society podcast. DGU, of course, standing for Defensive Gun Use. Some of us are trainers, but this is not formal training, and you need formal training. The Defensive Gun Use segment is intended as information, not as training. As always, the opinions of the hosts are only their own opinions and not those of any sponsors or other affiliations. This first one, and Susan is out of the studio for a second. This first one, everybody in the world, she is not. Okay, well then I'll let you go ahead and I'll let you take this first one.
It was after midnight. Our shopkeeper was about to close his small market and liquor store. He looked up to see a car drive up and a man get out. He watched him on the security video monitors. The stranger pulled on a ski mask over their face, and they're wearing rubber gloves. One of them was also carrying an AR rifle in his arms. The defender reached under the counter and grabbed the shotgun he kept there. He also dropped down behind the counter, pointed the shotgun at the front door. The robber attacker came through the door, leveled his rifle. That's when the defender shot him. The bad guy turned around, ran back outside. Another man in the getaway car got out of the car to help the attacker. The second man also had a handgun. The defender stayed inside his store. The attackers drove away, and the good guy called 911. Police arrived within a few minutes. The police arrested the 4 attackers as they drove into the hospital parking lot. The defender showed the police the security video. The wounded attacker was unstable but serious condition due to the shotgun wound to his upper arm. The defender is 80 years old. The 4 attackers face felony charges for attempted robbery, possession of stolen firearms, car theft, using guns during commission of a felony, victimizing a person over age 65, and elder abuse. They're being held in lieu of $500,000 bail.
And that's amazing to me because in California, I didn't think even that offense qualified for bail. I thought they were just kicked them. So, good on, and we've all seen the video. Good on the shopkeeper. He did the right thing, and kudos to him for watching the security camera, knowing the balloon was about to go up, and preparing. And I want, Charlie, you and I just had talked about a story on the Bullet a little bit ago, where the shop employee, the bodega employee in New York, was getting attacked and stabbed his attacker. He's getting robbed by a guy with a knife. He stabbed the guy that was attacking him and got arrested for murder when he was the one being robbed. I was afraid when this story broke this was going to happen to our guy in Norco, California. Fortunately, that wasn't the case.
Yeah, I think that the murder case that they're going after was because because he stabbed him multiple times, and the final one was in the back of the neck.
And then those and Charlie and I discussed that story a little bit ago. Those charges have been dropped, and the former bodega employee. He did quit, and the news story I read today said he plans on moving back to the Dominican Republic because it's safer than New York City.
Yep.
So back to the bodega incident. We say that you shoot your bad guy until he's no longer a threat. If you're attacking with a knife, it should probably be the same. And if he's still a threat, you've got to, you can't shoot someone and wait or stab someone and wait. You've got to keep attacking this person
until they're no longer a threat.
And if
right,
so if you disconnect his computer from the wires in the back of the neck, okay.
But see, the problem is in our legal system, they choose to pick and choose as to what they take offense to. If you are victimized, it's like, oh, well, you were a victim of a crime and that was a bad guy. But if you fight back, then all of a sudden you become the aggressor, you become the bad guy. And how dare you? Is your money, is your store worth that person's life? Well, since that person was threatening my life is worth their life. I didn't start this fight, and I just want to survive to go home tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell this when I talk to people about driving. I say everyone thinks they have the right of way, and they're all wrong. Is my stuff more important than that person? Well, to me it is. I'm sure to him, his stuff is more important than me to him, and to me, my stuff is more important. And I'm not going to be a victim of a crime just because his life is important to him, but he decided to attack me and threaten my life.
Rob, you got something up in show notes here.
Right. The 80-year-old man spoke to the media, and he let the local politicians and judges have it, saying, hey, you put these guys back out on the street, shame on you. I shouldn't have to do this. The news story originally had it that he had a single-shot shotgun, and given that he faced a car full of 4 armed thugs, I was going, oh, wow, he's lucky. Turns out later renditions of that story said that he had a pump shotgun he used to hunt when he was a kid. Maybe that's why he chose the pump shotgun now. Mm-hmm. Also, my concern is that's not best practice, because anytime you're stalking, anytime you're one step away from your video monitors or where you can get behind that cash register, behind the counter there, you're disarmed. I want him to do better. And he's in Riverside County. He can get a permit.
Yeah, instead, in this story, the aggressor was disarmed.
Literally.
Yes! Shot my arm off! I want to get a couple comments because John's talking about the bodega. And doggone it, there we go. I just got to press the right buttons. John's talking about the bodega incident. The girlfriend was the one stabbing him, and she was not charged by the DA.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't realize who that was stabbing.
Stabbed.
No, the stabber, not the stabbee.
Gotcha. Yeah,
right.
I mean, what Rob was just talking about really makes me think about, if I was a store owner, how many cameras do you need, and how much coverage do you need on camera, so that if something bad happens, you can trace the steps of the bad guy and make sure you get decent video of
used in your defense.
Yeah, because
if you're a gun store owner in California, guess what? You're about to have a whole bunch of them by law, and
certainly by law is different. But if you had a store and you said this is the way you're going to protect yourself in your store, I think you would want to have cameras all over the place. Not necessarily for robbery, but or shoplifting, excuse me. But if somebody comes in and robs the place, and if the videos are sometimes unsatisfying because you can't see everything. You get one
So
angle and
grainy, so bad.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and then you like on the bodega video.
For Charlie's entertainment's sake, put good video cameras in, people.
Right. So sometimes they end up getting off the camera and you can only see part of them. So it's I mean, it could come in handy and save your own life and cover your own.
I reported on a convenience store in, was it Auburn, Washington, where this was a bad neighborhood. There's a crew doing road construction out in front. After this convenience store is robbed, they interview the construction crew. They go, right across the street behind the shopping center over there, it's an open-air drug market. The cops know it. The druggies get in fights every day. They steal our equipment that we don't have hung in the midair on the end of a crane. It's horrible. Of course it's dangerous. You let this place go to hell. And then they tried to rob a convenience store clerk. There, the convenience store clerk defended himself, showed the police the security video. They did not show it to the public. The so-called victim's family set up a little shrine out front and a memorial as if they were the victim rather than your thug son, probably a druggie as well, just got killed when he threatened somebody else's life. That, again, makes me think you want enough money to hire a lawyer who's going to manage to defend you and your reputation.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of that. They're like, oh, he wasn't a bad guy. He was just trying to get enough money so he could go to school.
He was just turning his life around.
And again, the toxicology report is going to show that he was full of drugs.
Oh, yeah. All right. Susan, let's go to this next one in Oklahoma City.
This homeowner was jolted awake when he heard a crashing sound at 4 a.m. He assumed it was his niece who lived with him. He shouted to ask her if she was all right. She said it wasn't her, which came as quite a shock. The homeowner got up and saw a stranger sitting at his kitchen table. The defender then rushed back to his bedroom and grabbed his gun. The niece came out of her room, and the homeowner asked her who this is. She said, I don't know. That was when the stranger got up and moved toward the armed homeowner. The homeowner shot him 1 time. The intruder fell down and said, ow, that hurt. The defender stopped shooting and called 911. He put his gun away when the police arrived. EMS took the attacker to the hospital. The defender gave a statement to the police. He said he tried not to shoot, but the attacker advanced on him before the police arrived. The homeowner and the police looked at the broken front door. The attacker was charged with breaking and entering and with public intoxication.
Yeah, speaking of what the toxicology reports would say, it's unfortunate that this happens. Rob, you brought this up many times over the history of the time we've been on the show together, that you want to make sure of what's going on before you fire that shot. And you specifically have brought it up. Could it be your neighbor that has had a few too many and got into your house by mistake? That appears to be what this is somebody that got drunk, went into the wrong house, and just got aggressive when they got confronted.
Right.
So
we have had cases where somebody, you're the 4th left to get home and you take the 3rd left and break in to a house that looks just like yours. Or you get home, it's the 4th house, you turn it the 3rd, the door's open and you walk into the wrong house. You're sober and now you go, what are you doing in my... This stuff happens whether you're sober or intoxicated. What's interesting, the homeowner again spoke to the press, which is not, I don't recommend it. But he goes, man, I tried hard not to shoot this guy until I ran out of time and distance. So, wow. I can see where that happens.
Yeah, I could. And what? Are you all right? Hey, that wasn't me. That would send some alarm bells off, and I probably wouldn't have left the bedroom without the firearm.
Well, okay, let's. Can we best practice this, Paul?
Sure.
If your niece who lives with you is late teen, early 20s, should she be armed and you both stay in your bedrooms? Or do you? Okay, she's not, for whatever reason, that's not appropriate. Okay, so now you're treating her as if she's a minor, and you have to, okay, I'm the responsible adult. I go and protect her room. Let the guy sit at the table.
Yeah, absolutely. I would totally agree with you on that. We are not the police. Our job is not, as much as you would want to, our job is not to clear our own house. Our job is to protect ourselves and our families. And
right. But it's a long 13 minutes while you wait for the police to arrive.
Wow. That has got to be one of the longest 13 minutes on record. Amen to that.
I tell people you can usually play Stairway to Heaven 2 times in the time it takes for the police to come.
It's exactly 13 minutes to my house.
I can tell you what a national average takes 7 minutes in the United States, but this is a PG show, and we won't do that, Paul. Where are we going now?
Well, let's do this. I want to try and keep the show, even though we don't have a guest, I want to try to keep the show kind of on the shorter side. I want to go ahead and I want to take our break, and our final break, and I want to, when we come back, we'll talk about what we've been doing in media and all that kind of stuff. But I want to get ready to shut the show down. So hang on, everybody. We got one more break, and we'll be back to talk about what we've been doing in media right after we hear from JPFO.
In 1928, Germany required its citizens to register their firearms, making possible Hitler's 1938 Nazi Weapons Act, disarming all Jews. Now ask yourself, what is the real consequence of registration? All in favor of gun control, raise your right hand. Brought to you by Jews for the Preservation of Firearms Ownership, America's aggressive civil rights organization. JPFO.org.
Hey, and welcome back to the final segment of the Polite Society podcast presented by the Second Amendment Foundation. Rob, I'm guessing, normally at this point I would say, Rob, what's been going on over at Slowfax, but because you edited that part out of my show notes, I'm guessing there's been a whole lot of dealing with returning from Mexico issues.
I've been sick for the last 3 weeks. It's really cost some IQ points. I hope I can start writing soon. Charlie, what have you been doing?
I've been trying to keep myself busy, of course, trying to keep up. Tomorrow's show, tomorrow's Riding Shotgun with Charlie episode, is 3 ladies that I interviewed at Rick Ector's event in Detroit last week. These ladies have never fired a gun before, and I got some before and after video with them, which I thought was really cool. One of the ladies, I ended up being her instructor and doing the shooting with her, so I got some video of that I have in there as well. What I think is really cool is if you've got someone that's on the fence and not sure about maybe going shooting or becoming a gun owner, maybe getting to the point where they want to carry, I think this would be really good to watch, because you'll see some women that are like, hey, I'm a little concerned about this, and I'm not sure what to do about this. I don't exactly know what the process is to get a carry permit in my state, but I went shooting and I didn't get hurt, and I didn't hurt anyone else, and I had a good time. So that's going to be coming out tomorrow morning at 8:30 Eastern Time, and check it out on YouTube and Gunstream Earl and Full 30 in the OpsLens app, or you can download the podcast version of the show as well. So that's what I've been up to. Amanda, what is going on with you and Women for Gun Rights?
Nothing. I'm doing nothing.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you need to keep up.
There you go. No, so Friday nights we have Women for Gun Rights, and then Sunday nights Eye on the Target Radio. And so I've had this big dream that I would retire and have some time to do some promo work to make it so that Rob could get to my show on the podcast when he wanted to, as opposed to whenever. And so far, I have dashed those dreams onto the Shores rocks, and I need to keep up. So that's
Wow.
where that is. Yeah.
All right. On my side, I want to encourage everybody, 5 p.m. Central Time, the only time zone that matters. Check out The Bullet Monday through Friday. And then Saturday, I don't have anybody booked yet, but I will soon for the weekend edition of The Bullet, which is at 12 noon Central Time. Today's show reminds me of when we had Tony Simon and Charlie Cook and Beth Alcazar on The Bullet on the weekend edition. That when you get those three together, it's guaranteed. It's not just going off the rails. It's going off the rails, down the slope, into the lake, and that's what.
And around in circles. Yeah.
Yes,
And the common denominator is you and Charlie.
Well,
It's not Rob and I.
All right.
Just saying.
No. Two totally different things. You and your whole Dear Lady story. No. I am not taking responsibility for Dear Lady at all.
I'm not either. I didn't take the job. For all the rest of you guys, at one point I was offered the senior management job at a company that they didn't tell me what the product was until I got to the interview. And we'll just say that the company name was Dear Lady. And every one of my girlfriends is like, ooh, and every one of my guy friends is like, wow, did you get samples? So just to let you kind of know what kind of a company.
Wow.
I had to say no, because there is no way in the world that I can work for a company that I can't wear their logo on my shirt, and I was afraid to ask what the logo was. So
yeah,
we'll just say
okay.
That was the Dear Lady story.
We no longer even have a train to be on the rails. Let's on our way out here real quick. John says, I also have a flashlight attached to my guns, talking about the DGU we had a bit ago.
Right.
Good. Right.
Yes, absolutely. I would rather you have a flashlight and maybe a light on your firearm, so you're not searching by pointing your gun throughout your house. And then George Geller, this is a great one. How many times can you play Paradise by the Dashboard Light in 13 minutes?
I don't know. We'll have to try that.
Unfortunately, the rules for broadcast on YouTube and Facebook would not let me attempt that. We would get pulled almost immediately. So,
all right. So YouTube says it is about 8.5 minutes long.
There you go. So 1 3/4.
There you go.
So it's all the way around the bases and almost a third.
And then back to let me sleep on it.
All right. Speaking of sleeping on it,
we are all praying for the end of time.
Yes.
That wraps up another episode.
The Second Amendment Foundation's Polite Society podcast. So for Amy, Dana, Tracy, John, Susan, Amanda, Rob, and Charlie, and Rob.
Until next time.
Oh, wait, I have to say something. Stay safe.
Be aware.
And we'll see you down the road.
The views and opinions on the show you just heard are those of the host and the guest and are not necessarily the views of any sponsors or other affiliations. But hey, not everyone is as smart as we are.
Okay, we are done recording, and before I shut the stream down, I want to thank everybody, of course, for watching, and not all the shows are this off the wall, but it is honestly kind of fun.
Just the ones with Paul and Charlie are involved.
Right. I think that was the common denominator that Paul pointed out.
All right. I do think I'm going to go ahead and shut the feed down. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and come back and join us 5 p.m. Central for The Bullet. Catch you later, everybody.